Welcome. I'm Jack Bensimon, Managing Director of ArcStone Securities and Investments. We're back at Deal Pulse. Today, we're going to be talking about a company called Epaper and the market for digital label solutions. With us today is Ivan Park. He is a Chief Development Officer at International Epaper Technology. We also have Tarek Marroushi, who is President of CP-Stoneman, and Mary Marcoux, who represents partnership relationships at the Retail Council of Canada. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to the podcast. This is a very interesting story, and the reason why we find this very interesting is because the market is developing, it's evolving, and price labels at companies are really just paper is going out. And as I understand it, Israel was one of the first countries that is no longer allowing paper to be on prices. And so today we're going to be discussing the industry, some of the developments, where International Epaper stands, as well as the Trade Association, the role of Retail Council of Canada. But I thought maybe we'd start with some introductions. So Ivan, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Thank you, Jack. And thank you, everyone. And my name's Ivan. And actually, everybody's probably heard about what is exactly e-paper. It's an electronic paper that doesn't need a lot of powers, that can be powered by solar or batteries. And this providing a very alternative solutions to LED or LCD displays, which is pretty like a power consuming. And this technology has been around for more than 22 years and is a patent holder by a company called E-Ink. It's a Taiwanese company, and the innovation was actually starting from Silicon Valley in the United States at the early, I think 2001. And so, for example, Amazon Kindle is also one of the e-paper application. So our company is actually aiming to be one of the world's leader in the e-paper applications. And for electronic shelf label is also one of the kind of like a famous now application in the e-paper industry. And there are a lot of players in worldwide, but majorly only 5 of them. And we are aiming to be one of them. And we're a Canadian company, and here, from Vancouver, BC, and we have a 32 years service history in a label business. So this is also a new ventures for us, and to taking on this digitalizing the retail and grocery store, but also there's a lot of other opportunity there providing to use this e-paper technology.
Tell us a bit about your background. How'd you get into this business?
Well, I am an entrepreneur, from Asia. I immigrated from Hong Kong, and our CEO, Mr. Bao, also a successful entrepreneur, and he has been in Canada almost like 40 years. So me and him actually started this company together, and to promote this technology here in Canada and North America. And we are also try to invest into a future technology, which is pushing different kind of application to different industry. And we think this is a very good opportunity that this technology should be more popularly available to everybody. It's not just limited itself to be a digital price tag. It could be a digital signage. It could be the digital billboards. It could be any kind of devices that we can do to replace papers.
Tarek, tell us about your background.
Yes, so thank you, Jack, for having us today. So a little bit about my background is I'm a president of CP-Stoneman. We founded this company in 2008, so it's been almost 15 years. And we came, I'm an entrepreneur, engineer background, graduate of Ryerson University in Toronto, Canada. We started with this, focusing on low voltage system integration technologies such as audiovisuals, displays, LCDs and LEDs, and so forth. Our business was very much focused with PA systems and audiovisuals for airports and transit systems. And when we came across electronic paper, and as Ivan mentioned, we thought that this can be a paradigm shift in technology. It was a game changer to a lot of things. And one of the reasons why we felt e-paper is a game changer in the technological market is the basic fact of the low power consumption. And Ivan can also maybe talk more about the technological aspects of e-ink, but it consumes 97% less power than a conventional traditional LCD LED screen. And that's crazy. What does that mean? That means you don't need to run high power voltage, local power. You don't need to run, let's say, networks to it. So when we looked at, because we deal with transit a lot and airports, when you want to implement LCDs and LED screens, you have to take into consideration power, network, conduits, infrastructure, and all the civil work that goes around it, road work, road closures, interruptions, city permits, police officers, traffic control, and so forth. So imagine taking all this out and not needing that. And when we did a business study to one of our transit partners, this basically saves per bus stop, for example, just to give you an idea, this saves about $35,000 to $45,000 of infrastructure. So if you have 1,000 bus stops, that's $45 million from the city or taxpayers. So this is a game changer, and you don't need that anymore. Why? Because electronic paper displays can be mounted anywhere, basically in the middle of nowhere, as long as there's sun, because we can power it using batteries and solar panels. And as long as you can put in a SIM card in it, and if there's LTE, cellular network, you can connect it, using the grid, the network grid, and there's no need power. It can be powered almost forever. So you can basically put this display in the middle of nowhere. And with Ivan here can talk also, for example, the electronic shelf label and e-tags. It can be used in so many different aspects and technological aspects. So that's where we came together, because we're very much focused into the technology of electronic paper, and we're using it more focused in transit. And now we're working together with Ivan on the grocery side of it.
Okay, well, thanks for that context. That's very helpful. Mary, off to you. Tell us a bit about your background and how you got involved with the Retail Council of Canada.
Well, I was always in retail somehow. Many years ago, even Mr. Bao and I had gone back to Danier Leather was one of my original companies that I was with. So retail is in the heart and soul. And when I got over to Retail Council, I was actually paying the memberships on the Danier side. So Retail Council is a non-for-profit retail trade association that represents retailers across Canada. It's been in existence since 1963. So its 60-year anniversary is this year. It has been advocating on behalf of retail across Canada, on behalf of retail in front of government at all the levels, whether it's municipal, federal, or provincial. And it's really there to have a voice on behalf of retail. The membership is made up of retailers that are brick and mortar or online, but it also represents industry partners like the technology providers. So that's where I come in. I was assisting the technology providers or anybody that is in the industry to give them a voice to be able to share their experiences and case studies in front of retailers of what their successes are.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So it's clear the digital label market is a growing market. Let's get a sense of, in terms of the market scope, what does that look like in Canada, North America, and potentially even globally? Let's get a sense of the numbers.
For electronic shelf label itself, okay, the market projection size is 1.1 billion worldwide. And this technology has been widely adapted already in Europe. And for Northern America, the American is always ahead of Canada, and there has been, because of the pandemic. So it also started about 3 years ago already in the U.S. And Canada, we just started. Of course, some of the leading grocery stores, like Loblaws, they've been ahead of this technology as well. They've been pilot running those technology in their stores almost like 2 or 3 years now. And as we promoting this technology into the general public, and there's a lot of positive feedback that everybody is so excited, because especially after the pandemic, at the grocery stores level, the price change, dynamic price change is something that they think about all the time. How they can save some human labors in order to because they are using paper labels to print, to put it on. Okay, there will be the huge, human error involved. Okay, because of the time delay, and so with the digital label technology, okay, and then the grocery store will be able to eliminate all those, and then they can do dynamic pricing in a few seconds if they, as from a computer, and so those those paper price will no longer exist, and because the digital price tag will be synchronized with their own system, their ERP system, the POS system, and in the real time, there's no error in between. So they no longer need to have a lot of staff to change the price tag. And at the same time, they can utilize these digital tools to do a lot of promotions. Okay, because traditional paper labels, okay, actually limited the how many times you want to do a promotion. Can you do a daily promotions or changing thousands of price at the same time? Okay, that would be a hassle, for manually changing them, by staff, on a paper, right? But digital ones could provide you this possibility. And also the design of the labels and the layouts, the templates that they can use is just unlimited. And that's something that a lot of grocery store are excited about. Of course, there will still be a kind of like a challenge about how much it's going to cost them. Okay, what's the return of investment? They are doing some calculations, and but it is the future for all the grocery store.
Tarek, what's your calibration on in terms of the pulse on the market? What's the depth and breadth? What's the market size here? What are we looking at? And what are the key drivers? What are the catalysts driving the market?
Well, I mean, shifting from electronic shelf labels, I mean, the market for electronic paper is as Ivan said, I would say in Canada it's around, I would say, $11 billion. That's out there. But for example, in transit, I can see that being at so many trade shows and exhibitions and conferences and being invited to do some presentations, I believe that, as I said earlier, that this is a game changer to the transit market in Canada. And I think every single public sector, transit, and even community center are looking at electronic paper technology for the reason that how much savings they can have around the civil work around it and the whole infrastructure. So it is slowly. Of course, Europe is always ahead of everybody. The US is a little bit ahead of Canada. I wish Canada was always ahead of the game, but we see that happening a lot in the US. But I think in Canada, I would say in the next maybe by 2030, I can see that this is going to be across the entire network grid of the transit system, airports, where you will see electronic paper just basically everywhere. In grocery stores, I think this is gonna, if I'm not mistaken, I think in Europe it's somewhere between 60 to 70% of every single grocery store has shifted from regular paper to electronic paper. In Canada, there's a huge market for it. We're still very behind. I don't know if we're not even 5% there. In the US, they're a little bit ahead, but again, I really see that by 2030, every single major stores like Walmart's, Best Buy's, Loblaws, Longo's, these stores, even the small ones, convenience stores, gas stations, convenience stores, and so forth. I think everybody's going to be shifting to the digital electronic paper because it makes sense.
2030 is not that far ahead. We're only 7 years,
but it's going to be very quickly.
What roadblocks or challenges do you foresee in implementation of this new technology in the next 4 to 5 years? Let's say
roadblocks is well, they're going to have to be. I think the technology is so good that it sells itself. It's not too good to be true, but it is that good for it to sell itself. But of course, it's the initial deployment and the initial process obviously is more expensive than paper. I mean, paper is very cheap, right? But implementing new technology, of course, there is a cost to it. But once they sit down and they take it seriously and they see that the whole market is shifted there, all of the world is shifting there, and they see the benefits that in about a year and a half to 2 years, this is where it will pay itself. So yes, initially paper is cheaper, but to maintain it, to print it, the errors that human errors that do, the labor to change it and so forth, there is also a financial burden to that. So when they do the calculation and they sit down and they look at it and say, oh, you know what? if I invest upfront right now, this will pay itself within 2 years. So regular store with 5,000, 10,000 tags and labels and so forth. Yeah, averagely speaking, with all the labor and the paper and the mistakes and so forth, it pays itself within 2 years. So after that, and those tags can last, because of the power consumption, they can last, if I'm not mistaken, Ivan, like somewhere between 12 to 15 years on a regular battery. So yes, you invest the money up front, and then you know that this is going to last at least 12 to 15 years. But the first 2 years, you're going to have to put a little bit of upfront cash, upfront money and investment, in the fact knowing that after that, it's going to be just a cost saving for you, right?
Now, Mary, what are you seeing in your space? I know that you deal with merchants. Obviously, there's Retail Council of Canada. What is the trend you're seeing on your end with respect to removing paper and going digital?
I'm just going to agree that Canada lags behind the retailers from the other countries. The U.S. and of course Europe is way ahead, and we're seeing that. For years, retailers were lagging behind on updating their technologies and getting up to speed. I mean, I remember on really old computers back at Eaton's, at Danier, and then when we switched over, it took them time to get to that point, and then there was this escalation and reduction of time and space, and they started to realize the benefits of it. We're seeing the same thing is still happening, that we're now catching up, and we're getting to the point where retailers are recognizing that unless they get ahead of this, they're going to get left behind. And it's going to be the survival of the fittest as we get through some more lean times coming up. And technology is going to be the reason why they can get ahead, if they can kind of stay in tune with what is happening around their ecosphere other than just Canada.
Now, Ivan, I know we've had a couple of conversations in terms of industry verticals you guys are looking at. I know that recently you, in the grocery chain, you're close to signing a deal. What are you seeing in terms of how these verticals are broken down? You've got restaurants, you've got grocery chains, you've got big retailers. How is this market being broken down, and how are you penetrating that market?
Right now, we are still more focusing on the electronic shelf label market because there's still a lot of space to grow, especially in Canada and at the retail sections. But also, we are looking into a different industry. For example, billboards. Okay, billboards are also a headache to maintain. And then there's a lot of investment on changing those billboards. And with the e-paper technology that can be digitalizing and remotely controlled for the contents they want to display, that's a huge breakthrough for this kind of technology to actually implementing a different kind of e-paper technology. And then also, for example, I know Alaska Airlines is actually promoting their luggage tag with e-paper technology. And so I think that there's a lot of space in a different industry that can adapting to this e-paper technology, and also e-paper technology is evolving as well. And right now we have e-ink almost like dominating the market for electronic shelf label, and there's the screens. And I know Samsung has developed something else. Okay, it's coming probably in the next 1 or 2 years. And then there's other companies that's providing an alternate solution. They are also calling themselves electronic papers, right? E-ink is they call electronic ink, which is more like replacing a paper, with black and white, writings. So yes, those technology will be available, pretty soon. And then Tarek, you mentioned 2030. I think by 2030 there will be a lot of different technology that they can still be called electronic paper, and because this special about what is special about e-paper is because it doesn't really it's not a backlight power devices like LCD, LED. Okay, it doesn't require power to stay on to have a display. Okay, and that means in some of the scenarios that you don't need to wire power to that particular device. That's why electronic shelf label came into place. The thousands also of them on the shelf. Imagine if you want to do a power connections, that would be impossible to work with. And so this is something that everybody is working on. I think the technology itself will speak, and very soon. And I hope there will be more players, more innovators in the industry to promote this technology. And as ourselves, we also have an organization called International E-Paper Association. So we we are looking into the future, like more than 5 or 10 years. That we know those people should be come together to develop this, to standardizing a little bit about what is e-paper, or how this electronic technology is going to help industry, in our commercial side or even personal side. Okay, I think people remember digital frame for photos, right? Okay, and that's something thinking in the future you will see there will be a colorful digital e-paper frame. So that's also, I know somebody is making this kind of innovations in Asia.
So I want to get to the E-Paper Association after, but I first want to talk about, you mentioned industry concentration. That's important. Something like 5 firms control 90% of the market. Why is that, and how does that affect the barriers to entry into this industry?
That's for electronic shelf label. I believe that right now the top 5 vendors control 95% of the market share in electronic shelf labels, and our partner is one of them, and ranking number 2 now in
that partner being
worldwide.
Hanshow.
Yeah, that's Hanshow. Yes, and because it's pretty capital intensive investment upfront. Hanshow has been invested heavily in R&D, okay, and also in the product development. Okay, because it's not just a piece of hardware that they are going to, make, but also at the back end, how the software is going to help retailers, grocery stores to use these features. For example, geolocation is one of the things everybody is talking about. How the digital shelf label can actually track down a particular item on the shelf. Okay, and I know Canadian Tire were having their own mobile app, which allow a user to walk into a store and then click on the whatever item they want to locate, and there will be a LED function. They can light up a LED on a digital tag. Okay, when they walk on an aisle, they will see that LED light come up. Then that they can locate this particular product they want to buy. So this is something that at the back end, electronic shelf label software can provide this kind of features.
Now, Tarek, CP-Stoneman, you've got Papercast.
Yes.
How does that fit into the nexus here?
So Papercast, actually, they're based in the UK. It's a UK manufacturer. So we came across them not too long ago, like 3 years ago, and we when we saw the opportunity, we just jumped all over it, and we partnered up with them to represent them in Canada for the transit. They're focused more on electronic paper with transit. So basically to provide live routing, live buses arrivals, delays, and so forth to passengers at the bus stop. And this is where, because we were already in that business with transit and airports doing signs and audiovisual technology, we thought this can be a game changer. So we spoke to them and we brought it into the market, and we thought getting into the electronic paper, we studied it more, we dived deeper into it more. And when we saw that this is really the future, we started exhibiting in so many places. And that's where we actually looked at electronic shelf labeling as well and the opportunities. And when we were at an exhibition, that's where we met Ivan and Mr. Bao. And we decided to work together on, because we both believed in it. Right? It's not just a matter of blind belief. It's real technology. It's tangible technology. We see the difference. We really saw it ahead as a vision in the future, what it can do to Canada. And we thought, look, guys, let's work it together and see how we can expand in this market for electronic paper, e-ink technology. And that's why we're here together, to really, educate people, bring awareness to people that e-paper is really a game changer and the future of displays rather than the conventional LEDs. And they're still in development. They're still getting better. I mean, they started with black and white monochrome. Funny enough, I mean, a lot of, maybe the audience that's watching, they might know what e-ink is, but excuse me, but just for those who have no idea, it literally looks like an LED or an LCD screen. But the technology inside it is not those light crystal displays, lights, and so forth, the way TVs, LCDs, and LED works. It's basically there's a transparent oil inside with actual particles that flow in that gel, in that liquid space, and by pushing some charges to the positive, negative, that's where you have black particles, black pigmentations, or white pigmentations that go to the surface and creates a print. And that takes few milliseconds to do that. So when you want to do a print of a page, like the Amazon Kindle, you're reading a book, you want to do a print of a page, or in an electronic shelf label, you want to show the barcode or QR code and the price tag. It's a matter of maybe like 1 to 2 seconds. It just turns on, grabs the connectivity, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, whatnot. It gets the data information through the cloud. It updates the screen and it goes to sleep mode, right? And basically when the power is not there, the print is still there. It's not like when you turn off the power of an LCD, LED screen, the screen goes blank. No, the actual display remains there forever, right? The only time you want to do a change, you introduce power to it, put the charges, does the print, and then goes to sleep mode. And
now, you mentioned battery life. That's an interesting point. So how important is battery life? I know you guys have a 15-year battery life. How important is that with this technology?
Right now, electronic shelf label use mostly batteries, button sizes batteries. And because the characteristic of this technology is you don't need a lot of power to stay on, to stay displayed. And that's why for shelf labels, if you change the price like 2 times a day, our battery can last 15 years. And of course, the industry and the technology is also trying to push to solar panels power or even light source power that we are looking into. And one of our partner is just finish a prototype on light source power to power all these individual electronic shelf labels without using any battery. And also, there's the power can be also provided by an NFC contact, which means some of the products I see in the market right now doesn't really need any batteries anymore. So because as long as you need a little bit of the power to change a display, that's all you need, and this power can be transmitted through NFC. Okay, so this is also one of the technologies that behind these innovations. And so I would see that in a couple of years, including our partner Henshaw, they will be launching a powerless electronic shelf tag in 2025.
Now, Mayor, you're dealing with retailers on a regular basis. This sounds like a major inflection point in the industry. How are retailers managing these changes? Like, what's their process, their methodology, and how are they managing the risks as well in transitioning to this technology?
Well, I know that they depend on a lot of the consultants agencies to help them navigate the changes that are happening. Sustainability became a big focus of theirs in the last few years, and this all falls in line with this new technology. It has a sustainable factor to it that they can't ignore when it comes to the battery or shelf life. Other than the labor that they would need to do a lot of the stuff that used to happen, the sustainability factor is really going to be important to them as they try to become more responsible and up to speed with what is mandated for their own organizations as they navigate this water of changing with the technologies.
So how important is it the fact that this whole carbon footprint and the whole environmental piece, how important is that in the industry and how are retailers managing that? What role does that play?
Well, there's a brand new function title in a lot of these organizations that is specific to CSR and ESG and all those acronyms that come with being sustainably responsible. And it's a wide bucket. It covers a lot of different things. The fashion industry has its own niche things that they need to be responsible for. Technology has its own footprint as well that they have to be responsible for. So there's going to be, depending on the size of the organization, there's probably several function titles that have to deal with these, and that's their main focus is to be environmentally sustainable as an organization.
Okay. Now, let's be clear. Your company is not a startup company. You've got revenue, you've got customers, you've got partnerships. What's in the horizon in the next 12 to 18 months, and how are you going to attack these markets that you mentioned, these sub-verticals?
Well, for the first, we're now focusing on electronic shelf label business. And our partner Henshaw is actually expanding quickly, and they're also expanding their manufacturing capacity. And we are looking into this roadmap of our development as a company is at the same time selling this electronic shelf labels for Henshaw, and we're also developing our own technology and all our own software, our own products, which we call ETAG. ETAG is a revolutionary product that's going to change the industry of electronic shelf label, because with e-tags, consumers, which is business, they no longer need to do a lot of infrastructure investment, including network infrastructures or software integrations, and all this. Everything can be done with a cell phone. Okay, and those tag will be using Bluetooth, the newest Bluetooth technology to connect with your cell phone, and from a fingertips that you can edit those contents, whatever you want to display on that particular price tag, whether it's a price or is it just a promotion message, you can choose them. So this product will be available in summer 2024, and we're going to do a test run for the markets here, both in Canada and in Asia as well. So our aiming is that for electronic shelf label, it's been around for more than 10 years. Electronic shelf labels, and there's some challenge as people also other Derek mentions, and people need to invest upfront. Okay, it doesn't matter whether the ROI is 2 years or whatever. It's a huge capital investment for them. Okay, then that's why you don't see a lot of Papa and Mama shops using electronic shelf labels, because I've been talking to them, and they say, okay, yeah, if I'm going to spend thousands of dollars on this, I probably can just invest on a new computer, new post system, or something like that, right? But and also the labor's intensive involved in the preparation is huge. It's a hidden cost for them. Okay, and so that's why they struggle and they hesitating in adopting the electronic shelf labels with the current product. With a network, through AP connections, Wi-Fi connections, but with the e-tag, our products, then they will be limited. Okay, they can do 1, 2, 3 steps, and then in 10 minutes they can get those shelf labels working for them, on their fingertips.
So you have the hardware component to your business, and you have the software component. I understand you're working on a new software SaaS product. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, there will be a SaaS model, and a consumer can buy a box of the price tag from Best Buy, from Costco, all those retailers, and then they bring it home. They download an app through their phones, and then register account, and then they can start scanning all those tags, and make sure they're working, and then scan their products. A bottle of water can be scanned, and then we will provide this information to them. This is the barcode you scan. This is the product name. Okay, this is the average price for this particular product. So what is your price? They set their own price, and then they just hit a button broadcasting, and then the one tag will be showing that particular the items with their own price, and then can put it on the shelf. So this is a game changer, because we rely on our revenue on a SaaS model. Thousands or even tens of thousands, small business will be enjoying this Epaper technology. Okay, and then they utilize this, and they're paying us a monthly subscription fee. So this is how we're going to be heading that our way as for the business.
So if you were to identify one single attribute that distinguishes your product or offering from your competitors, what would that be?
Easy to use and cheaper to adopt.
Okay, great. So Maria, what's going to be the wake-up call for retailers to realize there's a massive shift going on and they're going to have to adapt?
Well, a lot of them have already been adapting new technologies and getting innovative, as Ivan pointed out earlier about Canadian Tire. There is many of them that are going to try to wait and see and get through this next little while that's going to be tough, but they're going to find themselves left behind. And then when things go surging back up, they will not be able to compete. So that's going to be a little bit tough. So they need to kind of realize that now and make the decisions with investment towards technology and being ready for the changes as they come with the consumer.
Got it. Okay. Now, Ivan, you guys have a few years of revenue growth. You're now doing a capital raise to expand, hire more staff, etc. Why now? Why is this the ripe time to invest in this market space?
I think the question is because the technology is ready. Okay, is our market ready? I believe this market is ready. As Mary mentioned, sooner or later, those users, I would say, they will realize that they need this technology to stay in the market, stay in the competitions. Without this technology, they would be lagging behind. So we do a lot of trade shows, and a lot of customers, they have no idea how these things are going to benefit them. But it is the right time that they start to understanding this technology, and then to see the benefit of this technology and adapting to it. That's why, I think this is the right moment for now. And with although also another innovator is jumping into this technology, I know there's several different companies other than E-Ink is making an innovation breakthrough. Okay, sooner or later they will become this technology will become more affordable, and then it will be a huge explosion for the market to adapting this technology.
How important is affordability? I mean, you talked about the cost per square inch or whatever. How important is that?
Right now, E-Ink is dominating basically the technology side, and the patent costs, to actually manufacturing a little screen is quite expensive. I would say compared to LCD, LEDs, it's still more expensive. And as soon as there's other innovation companies that are providing an alternative to this E-Ink solutions, and there will be a major price drop into this e-paper devices, and then we will see there will be a lot of conversation starting on how they're going to jump into this the technology and then going to use this.
Tarek, why now?
Just to add to what Ivan said, if I go back in time a little bit, to remember the times when there was no television, and then the CRTs came into existence, and then that exploded the market with everybody wanted a CRT at home, and then CRTs, the old TVs, those big round TVs, and then it got replaced by LED and LCD screens, and then there was a huge explosion in the market for LEDs and LCDs. Well, now that paradigm shift is electronic paper, e-paper, that is going to be replacing LEDs and LCD screens pretty much across the entire world. And why now? Because the technology is just right for it. So the market space is right for it, the technology is right for it, and I believe the price as well, even though it will get better as competition grows, is also right for it. And it's a matter of either get it right now, ride the boat right now, and get into the boat for E-ink investments, e-paper investments, or you're going to be missing out. So we are in the right time, in the right place, in the right space for electronic paper, for electronic digital paper. And those who are interested in investing, this is the time for it right now. 5 years down the road, might be too late. Right? It's never too late, but it's not as good as getting into it right now. It's always good to be in the start of the wave rather than towards the end of the wave.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank everyone, Tarek, Ivan, Marie, for coming on and expounding upon your views. Once again, Jack Bensimon from ArcStone Securities and Investments on Deal Pulse.